Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to another under 15-minute session with me. Today is going to be all about sentences. Well, sentences are so simple. What do you want to know about sentences? Well, we'll find out. There are actually many different types of sentences. We need to pay attention to why these different types of sentences are used, how we say these different types of sentences, and how to differentiate between them. Okay, so let's get started. Now, these are your four types of sentences. You have declarative sentence, interrogative sentence, imperative sentence, and exclamatory sentence. Okay, so let me say this again. Declarative sentence. Okay, the way I said it, you understand that these are normal sentences that end with a full stop. Interrogative sentence. Now, the way I said this helps you understand that these are questions and end in a question mark. Imperative sentence. Now, these are sentences that are giving you a command or an order or sometimes making a request. The easiest way to identify this is that it won't have a subject, and these can end in a full stop or an exclamation mark. And exclamatory sentence. So the way I said it helps you understand that these end with an exclamation mark. Now let's get into more detail. Let's start with declarative sentences. Now, in the name of the sentence itself, you can see the word declare. So from that, you can understand that declarative sentences are used to declare things. They're used to give information. They're used to state facts. In fact, these are the most used sentences in our daily conversations. We use declarative sentences the most. So, whenever you're making a statement, expressing a fact, giving an opinion, what you are making use of is a declarative sentence. For example, the sun sets in the west. This is a fact, normal declarative sentence. Like I told you, these sentences end with a period or a full stop, whatever you like to call it. Okay, let's take a look at some examples. Now, as I'm reading out these examples, I want you to pay attention to the way I'm saying these sentences, okay? I like watching feel-good movies, but my brother likes watching horror movies. My brother is 20 years old. They go to school by bus. I like reading about the solar system in my free time. Now, when you were listening to the way I was saying these sentences, you must have noticed there's certain things happening to my voice. And the one thing that is common in all of these sentences is that my voice goes down. It falls at the end of these sentences, okay? So whenever you're saying declarative sentences out loud, you need to have falling intonation at the end. What that means is your voice needs to fall at the end to indicate that your sentence has ended, and also to indicate that what you're saying is a declarative sentence, okay? You must have also noticed that my voice was actually going up for certain words in the sentence. Now, these are the words that I wanted to highlight. Did you pay attention to what I just did right now? And I do this while I'm teaching also. The words that I want to highlight, the words that I want to emphasize, I take my voice up for those words. So in normal declarative sentences, you're going to have falling intonation at the end, which means your voice will come down at the end, and you will have rising intonation, or your voice will go up for the words that you want to highlight. Another thing to notice is, pay attention to this example now. I'll read it out again. I like watching feel-good movies, but my brother likes watching horror movies. Now, I took a pause in the middle of the sentence where there was a comma. Now, where there was a comma, my voice did not go down, okay? Because what did I tell you? Voice going down means the end of a sentence. So what did I do? I said, I like watching feel-good movies. So my voice ended on a high note to indicate that my sentence is not over. It's just a long sentence, so I'm taking a pause in the middle, okay? Now, this is how we need to pay attention to our intonation to make sure our listener understands what we are saying properly, okay? These are the basics of conversational language, okay? Now, declarative sentences, all good, very easy. Okay, most of what you're saying, most of what I'm saying right now, they're all declarative sentences. Now, let's go to interrogative sentences. Whenever you do something naughty, you are bombarded with this. Why did you do this? What were you thinking? Okay, so these are questions that end in a question mark. Okay, and these are sentences that end in a question mark. Example is, did you finish your homework? Now, did you finish your homework is a kind of a question that has a very simple yes or no answer. I mean, unless you're lying, you didn't do your homework and you want to give this lamba chauda story to your teacher that, I did finish my homework, but then my cat came and she thought the homework was her food, so she ate it, or whatever story you want to come up with, you will give a longer answer. But generally, questions like this have a yes or no answer. So for yes or no questions, there's something that you need to pay attention to. Actually, I will tell you on the next slide. Okay, so this was a simple example. Now here are more examples. Pay attention to the way I'm reading out these questions and you will notice something different, okay? Do you like reading books or watching movies? Do you know the answer to this question? When will you return home? Can you tell me how to make these cookies? Okay, now out of all of these questions, this was a yes or no question, this was a yes or no question, and the way I read them out had slight differences. I told you about falling intonation at the end of declarative sentences. Now, questions, interrogative sentences that have a yes or no answer have the opposite of that. They have rising intonation at the end. So, do you know the answer to this question? My voice ends on a high note when I'm asking a yes or no question, okay? But when I'm asking a question that has a more elaborate answer, like a WH question, like this one, my voice does not end on a high note. It has falling intonation at the end. When will you return home? When will you return home? There's still a difference. You can hear that I'm asking a question, but there's no rising intonation. So, in interrogative sentences, it's not as simple as declarative sentences where your voice just has to end on in falling intonation. Here, it depends on the kind of question that you're asking. Do you like reading books or watching movies? Again, this was not a yes or no question. I was giving you an option between two things. So again, my voice did not end on a high note. Okay? Do you know the answer to this question? When will you return home? Now you know the different ways of asking questions. All right, perfect. Next, we have imperative sentences. What did I tell you? Imperative sentences help you give commands, orders, or make requests. Okay? Please pass me the salt. This is a request. You're asking somebody to pass you the salt. Now, there are two things to observe over here. Let's take a look at this example only. Number one, there is no subject. The sentence starts directly with please, okay? And the verb is in simple present tense. So the way to recognize an imperative sentence is just that it's not going to have a subject and the verb will be in simple present tense, okay? Now these can end in a full stop like this example that you just saw, or if it's a command, then it can also end in an exclamation mark. Let's take a look at some examples. Wash the plates before you use them. Run! Do not close the door. Okay, we'll come to the last example later. In the three examples that I read out, run ended with an exclamation. So did you hear the way I said it? It ended on a high note. Run! Run! Because your exclamation mark is used for emphasis. Okay, so here your voice also needs to show that emphasis. Then you have wash the plates before you use them. Simple sentence, wash. Okay, it's simple present tense, no subject. Now this is asking you to do something. Wash the plates. There's another example, do not close the door. This is asking you not to do something. Do not close the door. Your verb's in simple present tense and there's no subject. Now, mostly it's very easy to recognize imperative sentences, but sometimes there are little complicated imperative sentences like the one that you see here, the fourth example. If you think you're going to be late, ask your sister to drop you off. Now here we have a conditional. Can you see what I've written? Okay, they have a conditional imperative sentence. What is the condition here? If you think you're going to be late. So whenever you see a sentence that starts with if, and then the second part of that sentence is an imperative sentence, ask your sister to drop you off, then you have a conditional imperative sentence. Okay, these are slightly longer, slightly more complicated, but again, not that difficult to recognize. All right. Now, even in imperative sentences, you need to take care of your intonation. If you're giving a command, it needs to sound like a command. Run. Do not close the door. Okay, if you're making a request, it needs to sound like a request. Please pass me the salt. Okay. All right. Coming to the last type of sentence, exclamatory sentence. Now you already get the gist of this because of the imperative sentence that we did ending in an exclamation mark. It's used for emphasis. It's to show heightened emotions. Now, these emotions can be positive or negative. Okay, both of them can be heightened emotions. And usually, with exclamatory sentence, we also use interjections or exclamatory words. Okay, like wow, oh no, whoa, alas. Okay, so here's an example. What a beautiful sunset. Again, pay attention to the intonation. What a beautiful sunset. You want to emphasize the fact that the sunset is gorgeous. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. Okay, so your voice needs to convey that. When you're reading it, the exclamation mark will convey it. But when you're saying it out loud, your voice needs to convey it. Okay? Here are some examples. My God, those are some wonderful decorations. You were amazing. Wow, that is good news. No way. Okay? Now here, did you notice that this sentence over here is not ending in an exclamation mark? Now, exclamatory sentences that are used to show heightened emotions usually use interjections. There are two different ways in which we can punctuate these interjections. We can either put the exclamation mark like this right after the interjection, my God, and then the rest of the sentence can be a normal sentence that can end in a full stop. Or you can put a comma after the exclamatory word, wow, comma, that is good news, and then end the sentence in an exclamation mark. This is totally up to you. Okay? Avoid ending two consecutive sentences in exclamation marks. That doesn't look good. Okay? All right. These are the different sentences. Very easy. So you know how to frame these sentences. You know how to differentiate between among them, and you also know when to use which. But one thing that I want you to take away from this is that you need to also pay attention to the way you're saying these different sentences. That makes a world of a difference and will make your conversational English so much better. All right? Now here is a little bit of homework for you. You need to identify the sentences given below. I'm not going to read them out. Otherwise, I'll give away the answer. I mean, it's very easy anyway, I'm sure you can. But you need to practice saying these as well. So say them correctly. You can go back to the video, figure out intonation. Okay, practice saying these. See, normally when we talk, we usually sound very monotonous. We don't do a lot with our voice. But if you're giving a speech, if you're giving a presentation, or if you want to create an impact with the way you're talking, then it really helps to pay attention to your tone, pay attention to your intonation, okay? So practice doing that. Even in normal life, it's okay if everybody around you thinks you're a little too dramatic. It's fine. There's no harm in being a drama queen or a drama king, okay? So leave the answers in the comments for me. I'll take a look and practice saying them out loud. I hope it's all clear to you. I will see you again next time. Do not forget to like the video if it's helping you, and do subscribe to the channel. Go, do it. I'm giving you a command. It's an imperative sentence. Subscribe now. Okay, I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Take care.